The following is a presentation of Muddy River Sports.
Welcome to another edition of Schuck/Shane on a Truck, brought to you by Shottenkirk Toyota, Quincy, on the tailgate of the Toyota Tundra here at Reservoir Park with the one and only Mr. Mike Terry. Coach, how we doing?
I'm doing great.
We're
Happy to be here with you.
Of course, same here. As we're recording this, QHS boys tennis coming off yet another dual victory. This one over Quincy Notre Dame, 9-0. That's 7 straight dual victories as we talk here today. Mike, what have you seen out of your team this year? We talked after this duel about just kind of the depth you guys have. Just take me through what's impressed you so far this year.
Well, that's been the depth is the thing. I think we've got a pretty competitive group of players here, and you know, a lot of years 6 players are just set in that top 6 role. But I'd say this year we're probably 8 or 9 deep, and it's competitive to see who's going to be in the top 6. A lot of tournaments where we play are team tournaments where they play just 6 players. Others are 2 singles, 3 doubles, so having 8 players is a great thing. But that's been the biggest takeaway for me. And then also our youth, honestly. We got a lot of really talented sophomores and juniors as well, and a couple freshmen that are making their presence known. So it's been a great year. We've had an exciting time so far.
And just how rare is it for a high school team to have the depth that you guys do? When you can, I mean, we talked about it afterwards. How you feel comfortable 8, 9, 10 guys deep.
Well, it's rare for us. I'll say that. Teams we play, Edwardsville, especially some of the Belleville schools. They're bigger schools, so they have more tennis players. I feel, and that. So we're used to it with those teams, but really for us to have that depth, it's happened before. I'm not saying that it hasn't, but it just doesn't happen as often as we'd like.
And the guy that's spearheading that, Syria Reddy, and you hate to bring up what happened last year with the injury he had late in the year.
Yeah.
And that was just a killer for him, but he's really, really turned it up a notch, I feel like, this year.
No, he has. He's made up for, that lost time that he lost at the end of last year, and that was heartbreaking about just because when it happened, and we were in the stretch run and ready to make a run somewhere, hopefully at state and conference, and then for that to happen, that was rough.
And we're dealing with another, as we speak, dealing with yet another injury this late in the year, but with Ethan Stark, who plays #1 doubles with Syria.
Right.
But it doesn't appear it's too serious of an injury, thank goodness.
We don't. I hope that's the case. It happened against Macomb, and it was. It didn't look that serious when it happened, but it was. And he's trying to rehab that and come back, but it's kind of a tricky thing because in tennis, it's just a sport of emergency movements all over the court. You have to react to your opponent's shots, so it's not like you can run patterns or anything like that for the most part. You've got to be able to accelerate and stop and change directions. So it's tough.
It was a sprained ankle.
Sprained ankle,
yeah.
And it just happened right at the end of the match, but it got worse than it was.
And in his absence, you've rotated a couple different guys there at #1 doubles.
Well,
Drake Dodd and Cale Holtzgraf played with Syria back here today.
So we had 2 doubles teams, Syria and Ethan, and then Drake and Cale. And so they gave us really 2 great doubles teams and then 4 very solid top 4 players. And so we're having to readjust. And Ethan has been a 1 or 2 singles player too all year. So that hurt us in 2 respects. But Cale has played really well consistently. I think his 2 wins today, I think, was 21st, 22nd win of the season. So, he's playing good singles and great doubles as well. So, moving him up with Syria, I think they like playing with each other. So we're excited about them, we'll see what happens with Ethan, but at least we have an alternative if we need it.
And I think Kale's filled that Ethan's spot graciously, and the one thing that I couldn't help but notice between, and not that Ethan and Syria don't do it because they do, even though Syria and Kale have not played that many matches together,
right,
their chemistry is top notch.
No, it is pretty good. And they support each other, and that's, doubles. I tell my players, honestly, doubles is it's a relationship. It's almost like a marriage, even though but they have to be able to support each other when things go badly, because matches can turn on one game. Tennis players can lose confidence on a missed shot that they shouldn't have missed, and then all of a sudden, they start to snowball a little and get negative. But Kale and Surya really support each other and keep each other up, and don't let each other sink if things start going badly. And they're both powerful players, and I think that fires people up when you play with a partner who can put balls away. And it's the same with Ethan. I'm not at all different. It's just that when you have a partner who can put balls away, that tends to fire you up a little bit and make you want to play.
And then they come together after every single point, no matter when.
Which is what we try. Yeah. We try to do that. Good doubles teams do that. We feel like that's really important. They've got to fist bump or slap hands or something, touch rackets, but just somehow acknowledge each other after every point. I think that's important in doubles.
And shifting gears a little bit, you just asked me before we started recording how many steps that I thought you took during a normal tennis match, following everybody around, and you said it was upwards of 13,000 today, which is probably about average.
It's around 13, between 13 and 15 usually, but things are spread out here, and we have 9 courts that we're able to use, and so try to get around to all of them. I don't always make it. Sometimes I get caught on a match, and I need to stay where. But I've got 2 great assistants, Rob Hernandez and Brian Holzcraft. They both played for me back in the day, and they're great, and they help me so much. And then my wife Jan, she does all the things that I don't want to do, like set up pictures, set up senior night, set up Carb Fest. We have dinners during the season with our players, and families host those, and she's the one who organizes all that for us.
Takes a village, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well,
you're kind of the face of it, but it really does take a whole village.
Those people help me tremendously, and Jan has always been there to talk me off the bridge if I'm, I feel like we've played poorly, or a long road trip ended badly, and she's always there for me. So.
How important is that support system? Because you can't do this by yourself.
No, and I've done it by myself for many years actually. But I've had assistants over the years, and sometimes they move on or become head coaches, but just having that support is amazing, because obviously 13,000, 15,000 steps. Those guys put in the steps too, and they move around court to court. That gives us another set of eyes, because sometimes there's things going wrong, and I don't see them and they see them, and go for it. I tell them. They're comfortable talking to players, and in the beginning of my coaching career, we weren't allowed to do that. We had to only talk to players on changeovers, and so. A player could be down 3-0 before you could say anything to them, and now it's more college style coaching. We don't. It's not full college, like in college matches you walk right out on the court and talk, but we can go up to the fence and say things, and I love that.
How much of an advantage really is that if you see something to kind of nip it in the bud?
Oh, absolutely, and with tennis, the fundamental things that you want to change, you don't really want to talk about that as much during matches. Those are things you try to do on the practice court, but what you do out here is just remind them of you're playing a left-hander today, so that's his forehand is normally the backhand, so we got to switch things up. Or today's match was really windy in the beginning, and then you got to remind it's coming straight out of the south, and so on one side you got the wind at your back, the other side you got wind, and also if you lose a game, you have a 5-2 lead, you lose 2 games, it's 5-4. Hey, you got to tighten things up here, but you're good. You got there, but you got there somehow. So let's go back to where we were, and whatever got us there, we want to do it again.
Stick with what got you there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not broke, don't fix it.
That sounds simple stuff, but I mean, I think that I'm blessed with all those people that are helping me. And I think they realize, because they're all tennis players, they realize, there's a time to say a lot, and there's a time where you don't really want to say much. You just got to have the intuition to know what to say.
And how do you get that intuition? How do you is it, I would assume it varies player to player. You kind of got to know what do, if certain guys like encouragement, certain guys like you to kind of bust their butt a little bit. It just kind of depends on the player.
Absolutely, and the fact that they're, I played high school tennis right here. I played college tennis at Truman, and they all played high school tennis, and Coach Holtzcraft has coached at the college level, before. So, I mean, as a player, what you don't want to hear sometimes, and sometimes, as a player, you want to be encouraged, and simple stuff. I mean, and I think as players that we all respect that and know that, and then, like you just said, I mean, sometimes it takes more than that. And I had great college coaches. I had one great college coach at Truman, and he was just that way. I mean, he knew exactly. He was a player, and he played basketball as well. So he was, he wasn't averse to ripping into if you needed it, but also he knew as a player, sometimes in tennis things seem like they're really going wrong when they're really not. There's just a few things here and there you need to tidy up. So we try. I mean, we make mistakes for sure, but I think those guys and having Jan too, who helps me with the boys and the girls team, she'll help me with that stuff as well.
And I would assume that's part of what keeps you coming back after
Absolutely.
all these years and all these decades.
38 years. So, yep, absolutely.
Well, Mr. Mike Terry, appreciate you hopping on the tailgate here, and we actually got a fairly nice day to do it as well.
Kind of unbelievable. Hey, can I say hi to Schuck too? Schuck, miss you, buddy.
Well, you guys have known each other for
forever. I've known Schuck a long time. So wish him all the best.
He'll be back on this tailgate talking to you in no time, I'm sure.
Good. Looking forward to it.
All right, that's been Schuck/Shane on a Truck, brought to you by Shottenkirk Toyota, Quincy. Muddy River sports writer Shane Hulsey. That's Mike Terry. We'll talk to you next time.
Muddy River Sports. Our home, our sports.